Good evening, Phillies fans, and welcome to the Better Late Than Never Fighting's Final here on the It's a Rap Sports Network with your boy Matty B on the call. Phillies today, man, 11-2 winners over the Seattle Mariners, completing the series sweep, their seventh series sweep of the 2025 season, and with all the weekend that was, in terms of all the bad news the Phillies received when it came to players, i.e. Zach Wheeler, i.e. Potentially with Johan Duran, it is good to see some of the fears, especially losing Zach Wheeler, kind of get put to bed, because to me, this series is all about renewed hope. Well, not renewed hope, but validates my philosophy that it's the Phillies have enough pitching, and seeing what the starters did this week against a very good Seattle Mariner ball club, strengthens that. Today, Jesus Luzardo had himself a very shaky start, but then he rebounded and he started to pitch like the Jesus Luzardo that we saw back in April. Yesterday, Ranger Suarez, a dominant start, and then of course what Chris Sanchez has been doing all season. So pitching was, to me, the biggest takeaway from this series, but a very close second is obviously the all-fields approach with offense. They scored 11 runs today, but they mixed it up. And they only hit one home run in the process of hitting those 11 home runs. That was the 45th of the season for Kyle Schwarber as he continues his MVP-like season. But this is, again, what it looks like when it works. And it worked this weekend. Now, let's hope we can continue this into the weekend against the Nationals, into next week against the Mets and the Braves, and then most importantly into October. So 11-2 Phillies with the win, and I'm here on the call on a better late than never version of the Fighting's Final. Look out, the hat is backwards. That's right, I'm mean business tonight. What's going on, Joe? Hey, what's up, Ricky? How are you tonight? And Mickey Delaney, what happened? I remember you called Seattle Mariners sleep. Ease up on Mickey. Ease up. Did anybody really think coming into this series the Phillies were going to sweep? I mean, come on. I didn't think they were going to sweep. Thought it was going to be a good series, but it actually was not a good series. Phillies pretty much dominated the Mariners over the last three games. I don't think I can remember three starters getting that many Ks in a three-game series. Yeah, they were striking them out. What did I think it was 12 last night for Suarez, was it? Or no, it was 12 for Sanchez. How many did Suarez have last night? And, of course, Luzardo with 12 today. It was absolutely very impressive. And, again, my number 1A takeaway from this series has been the and when we needed it the most as a fan base, to think that our pitching was okay based on what happened with Zach Wheeler. And that was answered. And it's all positive. That's what I do here. I'm Mr. Positive. I report on the positivity. But 11-2 is your final. Phillies will have an off day tomorrow as they end their 13-game consecutive day game streak, and then it's the Nationals. Then it gets interesting, honestly. It's the Nationals, Mets, and Braves in the next three series, all NL East. And, we've hit that point of the season, and now it's really going to get time to see this team. And, of course, the Mets are the team everyone's looking at, and the Mets are going to be the series that I'm looking at. I think we have 7 games in hand with the Mets remaining on the schedule. And then, 3 of them, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at in Citi Field. So, but first things first, let's talk about this game. Ricky Deal says, "Go Phillies!" Yeah. Ryan, how you doing? Joe says Kepler had a good game. Yeah, man, Kepler with a home run today. On the day, Kepler was 3 for 5 with an RBI, and his batting average. And he's been hitting the ball better lately, and his batting average has ballooned to 216. How bad was Max Kepler, where your 3 for 5 day inflates your batting average to just 216? But again, as already reported, when it works, it works well, and this is what it looks like when it works. This is a snapshot of what we hope we're going to see in October. And again, I got to preference that because, listen, at this point of the season, barring a massive catastrophe where they don't win another game between now and the end of September, they're going to make the playoffs in some shape or form. I totally believe that. I mean, they could probably play 300 baseball from here until the end. They'd still find a way in. So seeing this type of resurgence or this type of renewed fundamental baseball knowledge from your team in mid-August is very encouraging. But again, I got to say this. I got to wait till it's October. And I would much prefer, I hate to say this too, I much prefer a frustrating up and down, laissez-faire type offense until October, and then they turn this thing on. I just don't want this to be like, oh, remember back in August when it worked? Well, where's that now? It's all I'm worried about. Can really wrap up this division if breaks right over the next 12 days. Yeah, I mean, nothing but NL East, next 3 opponents, and a major test in Citi Field against the Mets coming up next week. And all eyes are going to be on that series, most definitely. As if the Phillies, as Noom said, it's not just against the Mets, but if the Phillies could find a way to sweep the Mets or take 2 out of 3 from the Mets, that might be the death roll for the Mets in the division. So, we're at that point now. Now it's divisional games. I think they got they got 6 games remaining against the American League, and then the rest of it's all, I think, interdivisional stuff, or definitely divisional plus NL. I know we got to go to LA yet. We got one more West Coast trip. I know that. They haven't played the Dodgers in LA yet, so I know they're going to go there. So I think it's all NL East, like 6 American League games, and I think the rest is like teams that are potential playoff opponents. I think the Padres are on that list. I know the Dodgers are there. So it's going to get interesting as we move through. The team sweeping Seattle was a fun team. I'm still not believing in them, though. Too streaky and inconsistent for me to believe in them, despite how fun they can look. Yeah, and I said that when it's working, this is what it looks like. But unfortunately, we just haven't seen it work that consistently over the last 4 years. But you can't really take away from some of the contributions of some of the players that have been pretty consistent all season. Trey Turner doesn't get much love. He should get a lot more love than he's getting. What is he, 4 for 5 today, or 5 for 6 was his line today? Let's look at Trey Turner's line today. Yeah, 5 for 6 with 3 runs, 2 RBIs, and his batting average is now over 300. Kyle Schwarber, of course, the other big story, 3 for 5, 2 runs, another homer, 5 RBIs, 45 home runs now on the season. Does Kyle Schwarber have an outside shot at 60 home runs? I'm asking the assembled right now. Do you guys think that he's got a shot at 60 home runs? He doesn't have a shot at Bonds or McGuire, or Bonds. Does he have a shot at 60? Does he have a shot at Maris at 62 or 61? Does he have a shot at that? I think he does. I think he's got a legitimate shot at 60 home runs if he keeps hitting home runs the way he's been hitting them. I think he's got a legitimate shot. Go Eagles. Yeah. What the hell are we talking about, Ricky? Go Eagles. Wrong show. Another sack fly. That's right, Joe. Hell, I was going to get to that, but we had another sack fly. And you know what? Not a sexy play, but a pivotal play. It's a run-producing play. And the Phillies, the word sacrifice fly, have come out of Tom McCarthy's mouth over the last week more than it's come out of Tom McCarthy's mouth in the entire season. And I will take that. And those are those types of things that I see that point to a different plate approach, to a different mantra at the plate. When you hear those magic words, sacrifice fly, that means they're trying to do what's better for the baseball team and not necessarily what's better for them. And you can't not have enough of that. So 100% Joe Hale, another sack fly. Again, next year, I promise I will keep track of sack flies as a stat line for me. Another thing to toss and turn at night over. We got the NL Central to play. Yeah, I know there's a couple. It's mainly, isn't it like mainly? Well, let's take a look. Hang on. Yeah, it's mainly NL East, NL West, a couple American League Series. We got the Diamondbacks, Dodgers. Yeah, it's some quality. The Brewers are on there too. Some quality opponents waiting for the Phillies. It's not going to be an easy run down the stretch. It's going to be a telling run down the stretch. I don't know if necessarily it's going to keep them out of the playoffs, but it's going to be interesting to kind of understand what this team is all about going down the stretch. Some of those players, some of those teams. Should be at 10 o'clock for my show. Don't forget, we get the Attacking Third tomorrow at 9 as well. So 9 o'clock for the Attacking Third, 10 o'clock for me on the final word. No final word tonight, as I'm coming in way late for the post-game show. So I'm not going to follow that up with a show of my own. So, but let's go into the box score. I think it's time to do that. Philly, or the Mariners on the day, 2 runs on 5 hits. They committed 2 errors. Phillies 11 runs, 20 hits, and an error. Big offensive day. I've already kind of glossed over the Trey Turner, 5 for 6, 3 runs, 2 RBIs, batting average now over 300. Schwarber was also 3 for 5. Again, went over that, 5 RBIs today for Schwarber, a home run. Harper 1 for 3, JT 1 for 4 with a strikeout. Bohm was 1 for 5, Marsh 1 for 4, Bader, and that's real positive to see that, 2 for 4, Kepler 3 for 5, and Stott 3 for 5. Now look at how the production was sort of spread out. Where is the strength of this team? It's obviously at the top of the lineup, 1 through 4, 1 through 5. That's the money makers, right? And those money makers were definitely on display today. Was at 10 hits. They were 10 for, I'll call it 10 for 18 as a 1 through 5 or 1 through 4 configuration. And I'll take that any day. With a home run and 8 RBIs. So 8 out of the 11 RBIs came from the top of your lineup. And then where did the rest of the production come from today? Well, that's correct. On the bottom part of your lineup, that 7, 8, and 9 hole. And we've been talking about that all season, how it's either one side of the lineup producing and the other side not. Today, strengthen the narrative that when it works well, this is what it looks like. And this is exactly what it looks like. You got production from both the top and the bottom part of your lineup. Now, the middle bottom or the middle, not so much, but they did chip in with a couple hits. But you definitely got picked up by the top and the bottom of your lineup. And I've said this, to me, the success and failure of this team will be measured in the 7, 8, 9 holes and not necessarily in the 5, 6 hole. All right. The 7, 8, 9 batters in this lineup are going to be the reason why we win a World Series or we don't. We've gotten little to nothing from them, but lately definitely has started to pick up. And then today, you expected the 1 for 4 to be the way they are, and they were. And that's what happens when it balances and you get what you get. And when it does balance and you get what you get, there's not too many teams out there that can run with this team. The problem is we just haven't gotten what we deserve and what we should have gotten consistently all year. For the Mariners, Rodriguez was probably the biggest day, 3 for 4. He also had a run, and he had the home run that opened the game. Suarez also chips in with a home run. He was 1 for 4, and that's really it. And that is really it. As Philly pitching, leading the way, Jesus Luzardo locked it down. Luzardo, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 12 strikeouts, and a walk. 89 pitches through 6 innings. That's a little high. But after giving up the leadoff home run, or not leadoff home run, but giving up the first inning home run to Rodriguez, it was all Jesus Luzardo. And again, that to me is also a big part of today is the way Luzardo kind of clamped it down, because the way the news has been breaking with Phillies pitchers lately, you needed something like this. The inconsistencies from Luzardo and Suarez were really put to bed this week, and they both pitched really well, and that's what you're going to need. David Robertson comes in for a half inning. Tanner Banks, a third of an inning. Alvarado, his return, pitched an inning, got a strikeout, and Joe Ross also with an inning and mop-up duty. Castillo went 4 innings for the Mariners. He gets the loss. By the way, Luzardo picks up the win, his 12th. He gives up 10 hits, 3 runs. They were earned, 2 walks and 2 strikeouts, and he gave up the home run to Kepler. Bizzardo, Ferguson, Brash, Saucedo, and Lau also pitched for the Mariners in a losing effort. Scoring summary. Now, this game wasn't a blowout. You had Luzardo struggling. He gives up the first inning home run to Rodriguez to make it 1-0 Mariners. But the Phillies did get right back into it as that magical word sack fly as Schwarber sacked in Turner to tie it at 1. And then the Phillies pull ahead in the second with the double with Stott driving in Bader to make it 2-1. Kepler would homer in the fourth with a little insurance to make it 3-1. But the Suarez home run in the seventh inning, as you know, the offense on both teams kind of went away for the middle part of this game. Phillies were unable to sort of pull away, and it just seemed like 3-1 was not – it seemed like the way the game had gone, it should have been a different score than 3-1. It should have been like 7-1, you know. But the Phillies did leave the Mariners hang around, and the Mariners did pull close. Suarez would homer in that seventh to make it 3-2, but then the Phillies would open it up in the seventh inning, a 5-run seventh. Was it a 5-run seventh? Yeah, 5-run seventh, 5-run seventh, and a 3-run eighth to pull away from this team. Turner would reach on an infield single, scoring Bader. Schwarber would knock in Stott. Turner would score on an error, and Harper then would knock in Schwarber, and that was 8-2. And then in the eighth inning, Turner reached on an infield hit, driving in Kepler to make it 9-2, and then Schwarber with the 2-run shot to make it 11-2. And that's the end of the scoring, and that's how you get to 11-2 Phillies. Phillies on the day, they left 13 runners on base. And again, that's why I was getting a little concerned sort of through the meat of the game that, 3-1, it didn't seem like it should be 3-1. It should be like 7-1. Left 13 runners on base. They went 8 for 22 in an odd runners in scoring position number, but I'll take it. It's close to 500. It's close. Maybe like 425, 415. And they also swiped 1, 2, 3 stolen bases today. Mariners left 4 on base, and we're 0 for 3 in runners in scoring position. So the Phillies got a little hairy in the middle. I'll give you that. But they were able to pull away and secure the 11-2 win. And now they get the series sweep, and it's on. It's on to the Nationals when they come into Philly on Friday. Oh, man, what do we got here? Brewers. I'm going next Thursday. I'm going the week 1. I'm going next Thursday, and I'm going the following week to game 1 of the Mets game. So Joe Hale's going to the game against the Braves. Or no, yeah, you're going to the first game of the Braves series. Pretty cool. And he's also going to the week after against the Mets. Save the best for last, huh, Joe? Get rid of those really good games at the end of the season. I agree. Stott is starting to hit. Yeah, he is. Shamal, Shemitz, Schwarber had a rare wall scraper today. Yeah. Does Schwarber hit 60 home runs this year? Does he have a chance at hitting 60 home runs? I think he does. There's Mickey Delaney. Look at that. He ain't running scared. He's here. Who's doing the Phillies Fightings final over the weekend? I will show you that graphic in a second there, Joe. Mickey, when you pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud. Mickey, take it like a man, Mickey. Again, it's funny. It is, Mickey. And I'll give you that. It's funny because you ask any of these people heading into this series, if you thought the Phillies would sweep the Mariners, ain't none of them going to tell you that, they were going to do it. They're not. And to sit here and make a claim that the Mariners were going to sweep the Phillies heading into the series was not completely off the res. It wasn't. It wasn't. I didn't necessarily think they were going to get swept or sweep. I thought there was going to be a good series. It could have went a lot of different ways. It was going to hinge on the pitching for me. But yeah, no, I'm not going to sit here and play God either. This is the Phillies we're talking about, the most inconsistent team on the face of the earth. Of course, it could have went either way. Everybody knows that. Are the phone lines now on this show, Ricky, not on the Fightings final. How are you, Steve? And then we got some conversations going off in the background. All right, let's head over now to pay some bills, as you guys are bothering me. Don't forget, everything happening here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network is provided to you by me. By me. I do it all here. Now, I get a lot of good guys that are here. We are getting ready to enter the fall, which means we have a bunch of new shows premiering or returning, either one. And here's one of the ones that are premiering August 30th. The Happy Valley Huddle. the Penn State postgame show hosted by Mike Lauro, as he will take you week by week through the 2025 Penn State season, commenting along the way. And it all starts on Saturday, August 30th against the Nevada Wolfpack. Join Mike postgame every week talking about Penn State. And if the Nevada Wolfpack doesn't satisfy you, wait till you see who they're playing week 2. That's right. Penn State Nittany Lions versus the Villanova Wildcats. And I don't know who made that schedule. And isn't Nova Division 3 or 2? How do they get a Division 1 team in the Big Ten? But Mike will be there to talk about Nova Penn State in week 2. He's also going to be talking about, of course, Penn State and Nevada week 1 and every week all the way through, hopefully to a trip to the national championship game this coming January. So make sure you're tuned in to the Happy Valley Huddle. And then the aforementioned Fighting's final weekend schedule. Here you got it right here. Big Al got you Friday. I'm pulling double duty on Saturday and Sunday as well. So me and Al will have you for the Fighting's final through the weekend as we welcome in the Washington Nationals. I think for the last time. I think it's the last time we're going to see the Nationals. And don't forget, with college football starting Thursday. That's right. It starts Thursday. Tomorrow, college football starts. That means the pro game is not that far behind. But before we get to the regular season of football, we got to finish up the preseason. And here we go. The Birds fly by. Preseason week 3, Friday night, Eagles-Jets. Eagles-Jets, Jets, as they will wrap things up on the Meadowlands. I don't know. I think Mike Lauro's hosting that, as he'll have you for the Birds flyby on Friday. And then every week, starting on September the 4th, Eagles-Cowboys, we will have you post-game for that, hopefully through almost Valentine's Day. And then if you're going to tune in for the Eagles post-game, then you got to tune in for the Eagles pregame, because that's where the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn comes in. Me and Kyle, we do a pregame show. We've been doing it now, as you can see by the graphic. We're starting our 6th season doing this show. And it will premiere on the network on Tuesday, September the 2nd at 7 p.m. And again, if you're going to watch the Birds flyby, you de facto have to watch the Birds Blast. So make sure you're tuned in for the Birds Blast. And then on this Sunday night at 7, the long-awaited 2024-25 season review show for the Flyers will finally air here on the network. Sunday at 7 p.m., me and Mike Lauro will break down what was the Flyer season. And actually, it might work because you probably all forgotten what happened. It's been 4 months. But, hey, better late than never is one of the mantras here at this network. And we're going to get a Flyers review show in just in time to turn it around and do the Flyers preview show. So we're going to start talking hockey. And if you've been watching The Final Word lately, we've been talking hockey on that as well. So make sure you're tuned in this Sunday at 7 for the 2024 Flyers season review show. Me and Mike Lauro will break down and put the season to bed once and for all. And then all the other programming you can see on this network every Thursday at 9 is the Attacking Third. Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. is the PNM, the AM. And typically every Sunday through Thursday at 10 is my show, The Final Word. So a lot of bills to pay in on that one. Is a wrap? It's a wrap at 106. Let's grow. Yes, it is. We are at 106. We hit 100 last week. We're up to 106. Let's keep growing those numbers. Let's keep helping us out. Let's keep it going. And got to do what we got to do, man. I appreciate it. Was I the first non-EOP staff member sub? I have no idea. You might have been. And we're actually coming up on our 1-year anniversary, October 4th, 7th. 4th or the 7th. I got to look it up. It's soon. We'll be coming up on our 1-year anniversary of the network. Big plans for that day. I don't know. I'm going to bed, retiring early tonight. Well, Steve, you have yourself a good night, and everyone's saying sleep well, sleep well. How's Pat? Pat's doing well. I talked to him yesterday, actually, and he's going to be planning his return to the It's a Wrap Sports Network on Labor Day weekend. Yes, he finally got through to the IT help desk in Bangladesh, and they're actually working on his internet situation. So he is going to target a return to the airwaves, I would imagine, on his on the wraparound on Labor Day weekend, that Friday night. So crossing our fingers and toes for Pat's speedy return. Hopefully the little mouse that runs the wheel that powers the internet is in better shape than the last one. But let's go back to the program and let's do our Broad Street bottom line. All right, the Broad Street bottom line tonight, simply put, and I'm actually going to talk about a game. I'm actually going to talk about this game when mostly my bottom lines are always broad. Like they're always spread out about a deeper meaning. But tonight it's about the game. 5 hits for Trey. I'm just calling him JT Turner. For Trey Turner, 5 for 6. Huge night. And I think it largely is getting lost in a lot of the antics of Kyle Schwarber and his MVP season. But Trey Turner has put himself together a very quality season. 100%. And today with a 5 for 6, how many times have you seen 5 for 6 or a 5-hit game in any aspect? And I think a lot's getting lost. And it's a shame because I think Trey Turner deserves a lot of credit for a very, very solid year. And he had a great series. And he is another pivotal part of this whole thing as well. So to see him hitting the ball like he's been hitting and to have a day like he had today, all signs are positive. So here's the hats off to Trey Turner for his 5 for 6 day in helping the Phillies win 11-2. And there's my Broad Street bottom line for this game. And then let's move around the bases. All right, round the bases on this Wednesday night. First games that have gone final because it's late enough in the day that we can talk about games that have gone final. It was 2-1 Pirates over the Blue Jays, 7-2 Tigers over the Astros, 3-2 Diamondbacks over the Guardians. It was the Marlins 6, the Cardinals 2, 5-4 Nationals over the Mets, and it was 1-0 Braves over the White Sox. Games that are currently wrapping up or in progress right now. They're headed to the bottom of the ninth in Tampa. The Yankees are up 3-1. They're going to the bottom of the eighth in Minnesota. It is 2-2 A's Twins, and at the end of the seventh, it is 3-3 Rangers Royals. Going into the eighth, it's 3-2 Cubs over the Brewers. Good news for the Phillies. In the bottom of the fifth, it's 6-0 the Rockies all over the Dodgers. Just underway out there, the Big A, it's 0-0 Reds Angels, and same thing in San Diego, 1-0 Padres over the Giants in the top of the second. And there's your score. There's your look at the scores. We can glance at the standings right now. Let's talk NL East. Phillies are currently 6.5 games ahead of the New York Mets as starting to put a little distance there between us. As we get through the next week and we got that huge series with the Mets coming up. I don't want to overlook the Nationals. We got to handle our business there, but then we got to really at least take 2 out of 3 from the Mets. You got to put them down. Put down that managing dog that the Mets are. And they can do that with the series win next week. Wild card wise, let's take a look real quick about the wild card standings. National League, the Cubs, Padres, and Mets are your wild cards, with the Reds only a half a game off the pace in the National League. In the American League wild card race, it is the Yankees, Red Sox, Mariners. Royals are 2 games back. The Guardians are 3, and the Texas Rangers are 5.5 and back at the standings as well. And there's your look at sort of the standings. I didn't go through the American League divisionals, but who cares? It's the American League. Here we got 11-2 Phillies with the series sweep. They're 7th of the year. They beat the Mariners. And next up will be the Washington Nationals on Friday. Day off tomorrow. First day off in about 2 weeks for the Phillies. Cade Cavalli will be opposed by Taijuan Walker on Friday night at the Bank, 6:45 p.m. in the City Connect. That's right. Break out them City Connects. It's Friday night at the ballpark. So make sure you're there and you're tuning into that game. And make sure as soon as that game is over, you're back here on the Fighters Final. And this is it. Big Al, me, and me. We'll have you over the weekend as we'll take you through the National Series and beyond. There is no final word tonight, but there will be a final word tomorrow. And then Sunday night, depending on how long we go with the Flyer show, we'll do a final word maybe. We'll see. But until we talk again, and I won't see you again until tomorrow night, you'll be seeing Steve and, Steve before you see me. But you guys have a great rest of your night, and even better tomorrow. And before I go, you know what I need. Harry the K, what do you got?
He